In a noisy world where everyone wants to speak up, the most admirable person is the one who can stay silent. Not because they are weak, but because they have mastered the most silent and sharp weapon of all, a disciplined mind. That mind doesn't react hastily to provocation. It isn't swayed by the crowd or driven by the need to prove itself. It doesn't speak much, yet its presence commands respect, not through words, but through presence. The kind that only forms when you have full control over yourself. This is the spirit of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us we can't control the world, but we can always control how we respond. We are responsible for our inner world, training our reason to guide our emotions, actions, and decisions. It's not coldness, it's strength. In today's video, I'll share with you 9 core lessons to help you build a mind as steady as stone, one that isn't easily shaken by outside forces. And over time, that calm strength will earn the respect of others, even if you say nothing at all. Don't skip a single lesson. Each one is a vital brick in building an inner force that cannot be broken. Watch until the end. What you've been searching for might just start here. Lesson number 1. Know yourself. In the journey of building a disciplined mind, a mind that commands respect even before you speak, there is no step more crucial than understanding yourself. Stoic philosophy has always emphasized this. It's no coincidence that, for centuries, carved into the entrance of the Temple of Apollo at Delphi, the Greeks inscribed the words, "Know thyself." It was the first and final reminder for anyone seeking mastery over their own life. For those who pursue inner discipline, self-awareness is not an occasional activity. It is a way of life, an ongoing, honest, and unflinching conversation with oneself. A disciplined person doesn't just ask where they are strong. They dare to face their weaknesses, impulses, hidden fears, and quiet, self-destructive behaviors. Because you can't control what you don't understand. And if you can't control yourself, you remain a slave to your emotions, your reactions, and the world around you. Marcus Aurelius, the steadfast emperor and profound Stoic, began each morning with self-inquiry. What will I encounter today, and how will I respond? A simple question, yet it holds deep truth. Prepare your mindset, not to control the world, but to control yourself when facing it. He knew he couldn't change others or force life to bend to his will, but he could master how he responded to whatever came his way. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. Don't wish to be thought to know anything." This challenges our ego, but reveals a foundational truth. To truly know yourself, you must let go of the image you try to project to others. Self-awareness doesn't begin with appearing wise. It begins with the courage to face your flaws, awkwardness, and immaturity. But why is knowing yourself the foundation of quiet respect? Because someone who understands their core values won't be swayed by others' opinions or praise. They don't need to say much to prove anything. Their behavior, choices, and calm presence speak louder than words. They walk into a room without shouting for attention, yet their presence makes people fall silent and listen. That's not power that comes from status. It's strength that comes from within. Knowing yourself also keeps you from straying off the path you've chosen. In the modern world, with thousands of voices pulling, advertising, and pressuring you, those who don't know who they are will be swept away. They try to please everyone, chase things that aren't theirs, and burn out without knowing why. Meanwhile, the person who knows themselves, who knows what matters and what doesn't, will stay focused, deliberate, and true to their personal values. So take time to observe yourself. Journal. Ask questions. Own your mistakes. And don't forget to recognize when you get it right. It doesn't have to be complicated. 1 minute each morning, just like Marcus Aurelius did, is enough to lay the foundation for deep discipline. And day by day, as you understand yourself better, act with more clarity, and live more truthfully, you'll find this to be true. You don't need to say much to earn respect. Just be yourself, unwaveringly. Lesson number 2, control your emotions. It's not the words that hurt you. It's not the scornful looks that make you lose confidence. And it's not failure that breaks you down. It's how you perceive and respond to those things. That's what truly determines whether you suffer or not. This isn't just advice. It's a truth affirmed by Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This quote sounds simple, but it's a daily mental test we all face. You get criticized by a colleague. You get misunderstood. You get betrayed. In that moment, you have every right to get angry, to feel sad, to react instinctively. But that's the reaction of an untrained mind. A disciplined mind, in the Stoic sense, chooses to pause, take a step back, and ask questions instead of retaliating. Does this comment have any value for me? Is there something I need to learn? Am I letting my emotions control me? Imagine you're sitting in a meeting, surrounded by people. Someone suddenly mocks your work in front of everyone. The common reaction? Snap back, defend yourself, get angry. But what if you paused, took a deep breath, stayed silent, and simply nodded? What happens then? You're not weak. You're actually in control of yourself, instead of being controlled by your emotions. The truth is, people can take your money, your opportunities, your reputation, but if you still control your mind, you're the stronger one. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And it's precisely in moments when others lose control that the calm one earns respect. This doesn't mean becoming emotionless. It means knowing when to let emotions speak and when to let reason take the wheel. It's a practice, every day, in every situation. Each time you choose not to react on impulse, you're laying another brick in the foundation of a disciplined mind. No one is born with emotional mastery. I've failed too. I've let a single comment ruin my entire day. But through those failures, I learned to create space between emotion and action. Like a Stoic warrior, you can't avoid the arrows, but you can choose not to let them pierce your heart. And if today you still find yourself quick to anger, easily hurt, or out of control, don't blame yourself. See it as a sign your inner world is asking for more training. Because each time you overcome a negative emotion without being pulled under by it, you move one step closer to the strongest version of yourself. You can control your emotions in a moment. But how do you maintain that steadiness every day in the chaos of real life? The secret lies in habit. And that's something you can build. Get ready, because the next lesson will help you turn discipline into a way of life. Lesson number 3, build daily habits. It's not the words that hurt you. It's not the scornful looks that make you lose confidence. And it's not failure that breaks you down. It's how you perceive and respond to those things. That's what truly determines whether you suffer or not. This isn't just advice. It's a truth affirmed by Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This quote sounds simple, but it represents a daily mental test we all face. You get criticized by a colleague. You get misunderstood. You get betrayed. In that moment, you have every right to get angry, to feel sad, to react instinctively. But that's the reaction of an untrained mind. A disciplined mind, in the Stoic sense, chooses to pause, to take a step back and ask questions instead of retaliating. Does this comment have any value for me? Is there something I need to learn? Am I letting my emotions control me? Imagine you're sitting in a meeting, surrounded by people. Someone suddenly mocks your work in front of everyone. The common reaction: snap back, defend yourself, get angry. But what if you paused, took a deep breath, stayed silent, and simply nodded? What happens then? You're not weak. You're actually in control of yourself, instead of being controlled by your emotions. The truth is, people can take your money, your opportunities, your reputation, but if you still control your mind, you're the stronger one. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And it's precisely in moments when others lose control that the calm one earns respect. This doesn't mean becoming emotionless. It means knowing when to let emotions speak and when to let reason take the wheel. It's a practice. Every day, in every situation, each time you choose not to react on impulse, you're laying another brick in the foundation of a disciplined mind. No one is born with emotional mastery. I failed too. I've let a single comment ruin my entire day. But through those failures, I learned to create space between emotion and action. Like a Stoic warrior, you can't avoid the arrows, but you can choose not to let them pierce your heart. And if today you still find yourself quick to anger, easily hurt, or out of control, don't blame yourself. See it as a sign your inner world is asking for more training. Because each time you overcome a negative emotion without being pulled under by it, you move one step closer to the strongest version of yourself. You can control your emotions in a moment. But how do you maintain that steadiness every day in the chaos of real life? The secret lies in habit, and that's something you can build. Get ready, because the next lesson will help you turn discipline into a way of life. Lesson number 4. Focus on what you can control. Have you ever found yourself angry about something you couldn't change? A sudden downpour that ruins your plans? A stranger behaving irrationally? A situation that doesn't go your way? In that moment, you feel powerless, and anger erupts like a reflex. But ask yourself, does that reaction help in any way? Or does it only throw your mind into deeper chaos? Stoic philosophy teaches this. Inner strength begins with knowing what is within your control and what is not. This isn't just a philosophical idea, it's the foundation of a disciplined life. A person with a resilient mind doesn't waste energy on things outside their control. They learn to let go of the world and take firm hold of themselves. Epictetus once said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." Short, simple, but it hits like a thunderclap. We cannot control the weather, other people's emotions, or the final outcome of every effort. But we can always control our attitude, our decisions, and our actions. In a world as chaotic as ours, this principle becomes essential. We are flooded with news, expectations, comparisons, and judgments. And without a clear mental filter, our minds get swept away in a tide of negativity. That's why, when it comes to building a disciplined mind, the lesson, focus on what you can control, is non-negotiable. Picture a simple situation. You're on your way to an important meeting and get stuck in heavy traffic. Time passes. The cars don't move, and frustration boils inside you. You slam the steering wheel, curse the sky, and then what? You're still stuck. The anger doesn't make the traffic move faster. It just drains your energy. A Stoic would choose a different response. They slow their breathing, open a podcast on critical thinking or gratitude, and turn the moment into a chance to train the mind. They don't let the outside world steal their self-control. They're still in a difficult situation, but they stay in command of themselves. That choice, the conscious response in small moments, is what builds a formidable mind. Not because it's cold or rigid, but because it's clear, grounded, and in control. It doesn't let noise invade the inner space. And then something shifts. The people around you begin to notice your calm, your steadiness. They see someone not easily shaken, not swept away by emotion. No grand declarations needed. Your presence alone earns their respect. Not because you loudly prove anything, but because you've conquered the hardest thing of all, yourself. Focusing on what you can control is not about avoiding reality. It's about facing it wisely. It's a quiet but unshakable statement. I don't control everything, but I control myself, and that's enough. So if today you find yourself caught in anger, disappointment, or anxiety, pause. Ask yourself, is this within my control or beyond it? If it's beyond, let it go. If it's within, take action. From that place, you begin to build a mind so disciplined, the world can't help but listen, even if you never say a word. Lesson number 5. Practice mental resilience. Amor fati. There are days when everything seems to work against you. Plans fall apart, people misunderstand you, and your efforts bring no results. You look up at the sky and ask, why me? But the Stoic doesn't ask why. They ask, what will I do with this? Amor fati, love your fate, is one of the core and most profound ideas of Stoic philosophy. It's not just about accepting adversity. Amor fati invites you to welcome even the unwanted with an open heart and an unshakable spirit. Because every challenge, if you're disciplined enough to face it head-on, carries a lesson no classroom could ever teach. Think of Thomas Edison, who failed over 1,000 times in his quest to invent the light bulb. 1,000 times. Yet each failure wasn't met with bitterness or surrender. He documented every mistake, every failed experiment, and treated each one as a step closer to the solution. No one taught Edison how to endure. He forged that strength himself through trials. That's what we call mental resilience. The toughness of the mind, shaped not in moments of ease, but in the times when you fall and rise again. You might ask, how can I love the very things that hurt me? The answer doesn't lie in fleeting emotion. It lies in the choices you make after the storm hits. You can complain, or you can learn. You can quit, or you can extract wisdom and move forward. Amor fati isn't a slogan, it's a daily act. Choosing to love life as it is, not just when it's beautiful. If you can train your mind not to react in frustration the moment hardship appears, but instead to pause, breathe, observe, and think, then you're building an unbreakable foundation of discipline. Those who have this don't need to prove it. They walk into a room, and you can feel it. This is someone who has endured, without whining, without crumbling. It's their quiet strength that speaks. And if you're going through a difficult time right now, remember this. Not all pain is here to hurt you. Sometimes it's here to teach you how to become unshakable. Next, we move on to lesson number 6. A simple but powerful principle. The promises you make to others matter, but the promises you make to yourself are the foundation of discipline. Before we continue, I want to say a sincere thank you to you for staying with me halfway through this journey. The fact that you're still here, listening and reflecting, is proof that you're actively building an unbreakable mind. If what you've just heard made you pause and think, if you found value in these lessons, please give it a like, hit subscribe, and share this video with someone else who might need a little more inner strength today. We are not done yet. There's still more ahead. And it's you, with every small step, every disciplined act, who will write the bold next chapter of this journey. Lesson number 6. Keep your promises to yourself. Trust is a precious commodity. Sometimes it's hard for others to earn our trust and easy for them to lose it. But can you trust yourself? You might be surprised to realize just how often you've broken the promises you've made to yourself. How many times have you told yourself you'd save money, lose weight, or finally clean out that junk drawer in your office? Chances are, you've made thousands of these promises and broken most of them. It may seem minor, but every time you break a promise to yourself, it puts a small crack in the foundation of your discipline. Over time, those cracks add up, and what you lose isn't just a habit, a goal, or a schedule. It's your own self-respect. Your mind starts to doubt. Can I really follow through? That doubt erodes your willpower. Procrastination becomes a lifestyle. Discipline collapses. Picture this: a man running a marathon in the pouring rain and freezing wind at 5 a.m. Yet he still laces up, steps outside, and finishes his training run, exactly as planned a month ago. No applause, no witnesses, just one more promise kept. Day by day, week by week, his mind grows tougher, not out of hype or adrenaline, but because of a quiet, unshakable commitment he made to himself. That's the kind of discipline people respect, not because of what you say, but because of who you become. Keeping promises to others builds social trust. But keeping promises to yourself? That's the foundation of self-respect. And once that's solid, it won't let you live carelessly or take the easy way out. It becomes the inner voice that pushes you to get up early, even when you're tired, to resist temptation until your work is done, and to keep going when results haven't shown up yet. A disciplined mind is one that honors every promise, no matter how small. It might be as simple as not checking your phone during dinner or reading 10 pages of a book each night. What you promise doesn't matter nearly as much as learning to follow through, with discipline, without excuses, without delay. You don't need to be a hero or a leader to earn respect. You just need to be someone who consistently does what they say, starting with the small things, starting with yourself. That consistency becomes a presence that others quietly admire. So today, choose one small promise and follow through. No show, no recognition, just you and that promise. Hold the line, and you'll be laying the foundation for a mind that cannot be shaken. Lesson number 7. Live simply. Minimize your desires. Do you ever feel like life is more complicated than it needs to be? Do you sense that society expects you to buy more than necessary, own more than you need, or do more than you truly want? If so, maybe it's time to consider a simpler way of living. Wikipedia defines simple living as a voluntary choice to engage in certain practices that simplify one's lifestyle. Others describe it as a tool to remove life's excess, focus on the essentials, and find happiness, fulfillment, and freedom. In Stoic philosophy, simple living isn't just a lifestyle choice. It's a prerequisite for true inner freedom. In a world overflowing with consumer temptations, where every advertisement is designed to stir desire, minimalism becomes a noble act of rebellion. According to Stoic thinkers, the person who cannot control desire is the one being controlled. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor." That line, if you stop and reflect on it, reveals a profound truth. Unending desire is the root of inner unrest. Living simply doesn't mean giving everything up. It means drawing a clear line between what is essential and what is excess. It's when you can enjoy a modest meal and still feel full. It's when you decide not to buy a new phone just because your current one still works fine. It's when you realize that every reduced desire is a mental chain removed. Warren Buffett is living proof of the value of this mindset. Though he is one of the wealthiest people on earth, he still drives an old car and lives in the house he bought in 1958. For Buffett, simplicity isn't about lacking money. It's about understanding that focus is a more precious asset than any material thing. Rather than getting distracted by luxury homes or trendy gadgets, he channels all his energy into investing, the thing that truly creates long-term value. This is also the core idea the Stoics emphasize. The fewer your desires, the freer your mind. When you cut down on needs, you become less dependent on external circumstances. A person who can be happy with very little is someone who cannot be defeated. They don't need the validation of others. They don't need possessions to prove their worth. They know they are enough. A disciplined mind doesn't just mean showing up on time, keeping promises, or managing emotions. It also shows in your ability to say no to things you don't need. And simple living is one of the most powerful ways to assert that. When you choose to let go of the unnecessary, you make space for what really matters. That space is clarity, gratitude, focus, and wisdom, even in the smallest decisions. And you don't have to start with a total life overhaul. Begin with something simple. Ask yourself, do I really need this? Over time, you'll notice a stronger version of yourself taking shape, less distracted, freer, and living in alignment with the values you truly believe in. What do you think about simple living? Have you ever let go of something and felt a sense of relief? Share your thoughts in the comments. Together, we can learn from and inspire each other to live more deeply and meaningfully. Lesson number 8. Practice silence and listening. St. John of the Cross was the first to say, "Silence is the first language of God." We cannot truly understand the value of listening without first recognizing the power of silence. It is in silence that we begin to see how God is present and active in our lives, and where our trust in His voice starts to grow. But even beyond theology, in the realm of Stoicism and human interaction, silence remains a force of extraordinary depth. It is the ground where inner strength quietly takes root, where the mind becomes clear, and where respect naturally arises without needing to be justified. In a world obsessed with speaking out, silence becomes a bold and courageous act of resistance. A disciplined mind does not rush to speak, does not fight to be heard first, and does not need to win every conversation. The Stoics understood this well. Those who speak quickly often haven't truly understood their own thoughts. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This isn't just advice for communication, it's a philosophy for living. It is a silent declaration of inner strength. Silence is not passivity. On the contrary, it is one of the clearest signs of self-control. When you choose silence over interruption, you show the world that you are not ruled by emotion. You are steady enough to wait, wise enough to listen, and strong enough not to perform. In that stillness, people begin to notice you, not because you try to stand out, but because the calm energy you radiate is too powerful to ignore. This truth comes alive in the story of Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft. During a high-stakes strategy meeting, as division heads rushed to speak and share ideas, Nadella did not interrupt. He didn't assert his authority or take control of the discussion. He simply listened, closely, patiently, quietly. Only after everyone had finished speaking did he begin. And when he did, the entire room grew silent. Not because he was the CEO, but because his words were shaped by understanding, built from thoughtful connections, and delivered with the calm certainty of someone who had truly listened. That is influence without noise, the kind of influence every true Stoic aims for. A disciplined mind doesn't need to speak much to earn respect. Its presence alone says enough. A presence so rooted, it doesn't get pulled into the noise. To reach that presence, you must learn to listen not just to others, but also to yourself. Listen to the urge to react. Listen to the fear beneath the surface. Listen to your need for recognition, and then choose not to speak. From there, you'll begin to understand. Real power often lies not in bold declarations, but in your ability to remain silent when you could have spoken. You'll realize that those who speak less often think more. Those who listen deeply often understand more. And those who are truly respected rarely need to seek recognition. They let their presence and quiet strength speak for them. So start simple. In your next conversation, instead of cutting in, pause, listen, observe, notice, see what your silence can do, what your words alone never could. The more disciplined your mind becomes, the more powerful your silence becomes. And sometimes, that very silence is your loudest voice. Lesson number 9, lead by example. In today's world, where everyone can voice an opinion and noise floods our social feeds, true respect no longer comes from what you say, but from how you live. A person with a disciplined mind doesn't need slogans or grand speeches. They move through life with alignment between their words and actions, their inner values and daily conduct. That is real leadership, leading through action, not applause. Nelson Mandela is a vivid example of this principle. After 27 years in prison, he walked out not with bitterness, but with a soul forged by endurance, reflection, and inner discipline. He didn't seek revenge. He didn't boast. Instead, he treated his former oppressors with respect and a spirit of reconciliation. That's why the world admired him. Not because he claimed greatness, but because he acted like someone great. His credibility was built through deeds, not declarations. A disciplined person doesn't chase the spotlight. They understand that true strength lies in quiet consistency, living their values even when there's no reward. They're the ones who rise early to train, though no one sees it. Who keep promises to themselves when no one else is asking. Who choose to correct their mistakes silently rather than make excuses. The question is, can you live like that? Can you do the right thing when no one's watching? Can you set the standard not through commands, but by the way you live? In any team, family, or community, the disciplined person becomes the anchor of respect, not because they seize power, but because they create stability. Others look to them and see an example. Not perfect, but real. Not flashy, but steady. And that's why you don't need to say a word to earn respect. When your mind is steady, when your actions reflect what you believe in, then your very presence becomes the message. People will follow your lead not because you command them, but because you live what you preach. That's the kind of influence that runs deep and lasts. an influence born of substance, not show. So, look at your own life. How are you leading? Are you speaking, or are you doing? You can start with the smallest things, keeping your word, apologizing when wrong, acting fairly, and standing firm when misunderstood. These are the bricks that build a presence others admire. Not because you speak well, but because you live right. Start today. No announcement needed, just action. So what have we uncovered today? 9 timeless principles from Stoicism, each a stepping stone to building a disciplined mind. From knowing yourself and controlling your emotions, to leading by example. These are not just abstract ideas. They are practices, habits, the choices you make every single day. Discipline isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't boast. But when truly mastered, it radiates a quiet strength that speaks volumes. A mind grounded in clarity, resilience, and self-respect naturally earns the respect of others, without needing to say a word. Now it's your turn. Choose one lesson from today, just one, and apply it. Reflect tonight. Act tomorrow. Keep going the next day. The shift doesn't have to be dramatic, but it must be consistent. Because in the end, it's not your voice that defines you. It's your presence. It's your character. It's your discipline. If this video resonated with you, stay with us. The next video is waiting, packed with more wisdom from the Stoics to help you sharpen your mind and steady your soul. Click now and keep walking the path.